Hi, I'm Maggie Reese-Voigt from Team Ruger, and I'm a brand ambassador and professional shooter. I've been shooting now for 10 years, and my mission is to take new shooters into the firearms community, make sure they're safe, and make sure they're having fun. So this is Maggie's mission.
This is Ruger America, New Shooter Academy.
So we had a great first day. I loved my students. There's nothing that makes me happier than to see people who come who are brand new shooters, maybe a little apprehensive, but give them a few minutes behind the gun and they can become totally confident. So it just warms my heart. I like to see people leaving the range happy. But I can't leave yet. I've got to clean guns. Not my favorite thing, but the most necessary thing. I want them to be top-notch, ready for tomorrow. We definitely put them through the paces today, so we got to get them clean, ready for tomorrow. So let's go do that right now. So I'm going to start first with cleaning Ruger's Security 9, and I'm going to use Gun Medic to do it. I use Gun Medic when I just really don't have time to totally field strip it, but I'm starting to feel like the gun is getting a little gunky, a little jammed up. So this stuff is pretty much magic in a bottle. I love it. It'll fix any problem. And I just hold the gun out so it's not getting on the table and spray out the inside. It's cleaner and lubricant, so it just keeps the gun running in tip-top shape. And I'm going to take a rag now and just wipe off the excess. So with the rag, then I'll just wipe off any excess from the Gun Medic. And I'm ready to go and get right back out on the range.
Today for me, I just really want to make sure that my aim is good and my speed. Like I feel, I don't anticipate, you know, needing to be one of those little action shooters. But if something happened, I don't, you know, that focus. I don't think you have a lot of time. So I'd like to be able to know what I'm shooting at, know I'm going to shoot where I want to shoot.
So I'm so glad you're here. My name is Maggie Reese. I'm excited to take you out and show you guns and show you shooting. But before we get out to the range, I want to know a little bit more about your background and what brought you out here.
Okay. Well, I'm super excited to be here as well. I didn't even know this range was here, which is an awesome spot to be. For me, I think I just want to, I've handled guns before, but I don't feel confident about it. Okay. And I was super excited. They were like, you know, there's a sharpshooter, and I was like, what? You know, and so learning from someone who can, you know, teach you those techniques that I can maybe carry on further down the road.
Absolutely.
You know? And so that's why.
Well, now that you know this place is here, my goal today is I want you to feel confident when you leave my training that you can come back here on your own and continue on with the firearms, with the training, with the shooting, and have that confidence.
And that is, and that's awesome, and that is a great thing, because there's a couple places in town, and that was it was a little intimidating. Yeah. You know what I mean? To just walk in and give me a gun. I don't, you know what I mean? Because you know, I would like to have one at home and be responsible with it, but I'd like to, you know, learn more and do more before I do that.
Yeah, it definitely can be intimidating, but I've found every range I've ever gone to, everybody's so nice and so welcoming. You just have to get over that initial hump and get out there, and people will welcome you in.
Right. As soon as I came in, they were so super personal. When I came up, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, there's regular people. Oh, this is nice.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
good.
I'm super
I'm
excited.
glad to hear that. So you ready to go to the range?
I am.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
I want to just talk to you a little bit before we get into the live fire shooting. So let me just go over our firearms here. These are two of Ruger's guns. They're Security 9s. So I really love this handgun because it's not too big, but it's not too small. Okay. It's a great personal defense, self-defense gun. It shoots 9mm ammo. It's comfortable in your hand. It's got a 4-inch barrel though, so it's still very accurate, very comfortable to shoot. And you can carry it on the body, but you can also put it in your purse or leave it next to your nightstand at home. So it's a lot of versatility for this gun. And I'm going to show you, first of all, it's unloaded, nothing in the mag well, nothing in the chamber.
Okay.
Whenever you draw the firearm for the first time, if it's coming out of your purse, if it's coming out of a holster, if it's coming out of your body, if it's off of a table, the first thing I want to do is right from the start establish a really good grip. And are you a right-handed shooter?
Yes.
Okay. So again, no matter where you're getting that gun from, I want to swoop it into my right hand if it's from the table, but get that right hand going from the start. High grip behind the gun, behind the beaver tail, fingers wrapped around, and this finger extended straight.
Okay.
So that is the most important thing, is to not grab into the trigger guard until you're actually ready to shoot.
Okay.
So if you're putting your hand into your purse, if you're putting your hand into a holster, that finger is going to stay extended out. So nothing's going to happen, gun's not going to fire until you're ready to shoot.
Okay.
Then I want to meet with the left hand up underneath the trigger guard, wrap around, thumbs extended forward, pressing onto the slide if I can, fingers still outside of the trigger guard.
Okay.
And it's only once you bring the gun up, line the front sight up with the rear sight, have identified your target, identified what's behind your target, know that you're safe, and it's only then that I put my finger into the trigger and pull.
Okay.
So that's the most important thing, is one, not engaging the trigger until you're ready, but secondly, knowing your target and knowing what's beyond your target. If you do not know what's beyond your target, then it's not safe to shoot.
Okay.
Those are the two things that you really have to remember. And once you have that good grip established, if you can, position yourself in an aggressive stance, feet shoulder width apart, leaning forward, pushing into that gun, because it's not a heavy recoiling gun, but it does recoil.
Okay.
So you want to push into that gun, extend forward, line the front side up with the rear side, use the tip of your finger to pull straight back. So I'm going to set it down and I'll mirror you at the same time. Just grab it, get that gun going as high up as possible, this finger straight, get this thumb kind of up high so it's out of the way, meet underneath the trigger guard, wrap your fingers around, push into that slide, aggressive stance, leaning out, front sight lined up with the rear sight, and now with the tip of your finger, pull straight back as if you were shooting at the center of the target. And then you can pull back on the slide just a little bit. That re-engages the trigger. Okay. Reestablish your grip.
Okay. Put it all the way down, or just from the head?
Actually, no, just do it from right here. So you get the different kind of feels. Yeah. Get those thumbs lined up. Push out towards. And nice, smooth trigger press. Like you're pulling something straight back towards you. Okay. And does it feel comfortable?
Yeah, it does. Initially, that was a little weird, but now that I get that it's a pull.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to be gentle with things, but it's just, you just have to pull it.
Nah, go for it. Go for it. So, and you will find the great thing about working with different firearms and having the opportunity to shoot different things is that you will notice that everything feels a little different in your hands. You might find that you don't like the grips, you don't like the sights, you don't like how it feels when you pull back. Those are all, personal preferences that I always encourage people, just go out and shoot as many different kinds of guns as you can so that you feel what works for you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Sounds
awesome.
Good.
You like it?
I do.
All right. How do you feel about shooting a few rounds?
I'm excited.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to load up a magazine and then we'll grab some hearing protection.
Okay.
Send some live rounds downrange.
All right. Awesome.
So let's do the full motion. I want you to grab the gun high with your finger extended from the beginning, getting that good grip going. I want you to grab your magazine now with your left hand. Do a little twisting to get it to go into the mag well so that front of the bullet is pointing forward just like that. Yep. Slam it in until you hear it click. Perfect. Pull back on the slide. And when you pull back, just let go. There you go. You are completely loaded and hot.
Okay.
So you're ready to shoot. So get that left hand up high under the gun, thumb on top, thumbs pushing forward, aggressive stance, leaning into it. Line the front side up with the rear sight and smooth trigger press all the way to the rear. And then if you're done shooting, finger outside. And I like to just start with those one-shot drills so you can really get the mechanics down of taking the finger outside as soon as you're done shooting.
Okay.
How did that feel, your first shot?
That's pretty good.
I'm super happy because you're just a smidge low left, but you are in that center circle. Yeah. So I'm super happy. Okay. Awesome. Good job.
I'm a little nervous. So I was like, I want it to be good.
Oh, no, you are. You're amazing. You're amazing. All right, so let's keep doing that. Just those one-shot drills. Maybe bring the gun up, fire one shot, and as soon as you bring it down, finger comes outside of the trigger, take a deep breath, kind of resettle, and then push back out towards the target, fire another shot. Okay. We'll just practice with the finger.
Okay.
Awesome.
When I was younger, I have a black belt in Kempo and a black belt in Taekwondo, and I used to think I was a badass. So as I've gotten older, at 52, I still have a bit of that attitude, but I know that a grown person coming at me would be an issue. I'd like to be able to, I'd actually like to be able to concealed carry and not ever use it.
All right, so grab your magazine and then just practice putting it in the mag well, like so. Slam it in. There you go. And when you pull back on the slide, remember you're just gonna pull back and let go. Perfect. You are loaded and ready to go. Good grip, that thumb on top, aggressive stance, leaning forward, front sight lined up with the rear sight, smooth trigger press. Nice. And you've locked open, so I'm gonna give you a new magazine. So this is your magazine release right there. So if you press that, your magazine will fall out and you've got a new magazine to put in. Pull back on the slide. All right. A little bit better, not as good as your first shots, but you see you're getting back towards the center. So
trying to not do the anticipation.
Yes, that gun is gonna rise up. Just let it rise up how it wants to. Your job is just to pull the trigger straight back. I could see that gun dip when you pulled the trigger.
I did, I felt it when I did it. It was that whole, yeah. Okay.
So that's good though, that you recognize it and you can see it. And it's just like I told you, you're gonna see from the sights what the gun is doing. So let the gun rise up. Pull that trigger straight back towards you. If you have to think about just pulling it up a little bit. Still flinching a little bit as you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
That's okay. You wanna go back to dry fire?
Can I try one more?
Absolutely. As long as you're comfortable, I want you to keep on shooting. Smooth, even trigger press. Let that front sight rise up like it wants to. So I'm going to do something now. I want you to extend the gun out, and when you're getting ready to shoot, I'm going to put my finger on top of your finger, and I'm going to pull the trigger for you.
Okay.
I want you to feel what I want you to feel. Okay. If that makes sense. So you keep holding onto the gun in the same way. Put your finger on the trigger. Let me pull the trigger. Okay. Smooth, smooth, smooth. And see, the gun wants to rise up. So that was the shot just on the red right there in the center. Right. So the gun is going to rise up. Just what's happening when you're pulling the trigger is you're getting there and you're like, it's going to go off.
Yeah, and I'm going.
It's going to go off. And you just have to just let it go off when it wants to.
Okay, and then and that's how I know that I'm out, because it immediately will stay open like this when I'm out of bullets.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how I know I still have more.
Yes. Right? So the gun should lock to the rear, but you always want to double check.
Okay. Because that's why you did that little thing to get the, okay.
Yes. Sometimes people do modifications or change it so that it doesn't lock to the rear. So always check. But I want you to finish this magazine and just every shot. Let the gun do what it wants to do. Let it recoil. You don't need so much tension in your arms. You know, it's just kind of aggressive, leaning forward, good squeeze with the left hand, but let the gun recoil how it wants to. Perfect. That was in the center. Nice.
Okay. So can I just say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Set the gun down. Jump up and down because you got to set it.
Really about it. But I got so excited because I'm like, no, just go. So it was smooth there. Now let me see if I can do it again.
Absolutely.
I was super excited. I was just trying.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm such a nerd.
I love it. That thumb on top, yep. And your pace, you do it at whatever you feel comfortable doing.
Okay.
Still in the center.
Yeah, because it was that one just above that one, right? Okay. Okay, so that whole smooth. Yeah, I did. I was starting because I was like, oh, Okay.
Don't add.
Just
Nice
yes,
and smooth and
don't
gentle.
add.
So I want to show you something really quick when you load the gun. When I grab the magazine, I'm keeping this finger extended out, and that way it can guide me into the mag well. So I turn it around just like so. So I always leave them set up. If for whatever reason I have the gun empty and a magazine on the table, I can grab both at the same time, turn, and go into the mag well.
Okay.
And that finger pointing helps me get started in the right direction. Then I move it out of the way, slam it in.
Okay.
Just something to think about when you put the gun down and put the magazines down so that it's natural to grab it and pick it back up.
Okay.
So you try.
Okay.
Just like that, yep. And it's always the same continuity every time. So get a good grip, and you're doing awesome. You're back in the center. So I want you to just keep going with that. Just really think about that trigger, think about the sights. And you can fire a couple rounds, but fire them at the speed that you feel comfortable, where you're not fighting the gun, you're letting it recoil, and then getting back on target.
Okay.
So what happens is women need a strong, strong grip. If you are not holding on with that left hand, then what's gonna happen is the gun's gonna go like this, and then you're gonna have to reestablish the grip.
Okay.
So always think about the most important thing is the left hand, your non-dominant hand, squeezing as hard as you can. As women, we've really got to hold on to that gun.
Okay.
And that will give you better accuracy, better control, but you've got to squeeze like you wouldn't even think that you were squeezing.
Okay.
You know, put that muscle into it. And then line up the front sight with the rear sight. Nice, smooth trigger press. Nice.
Okay.
Because ideally what's happening, or what you want to happen, is if you have to fire multiple shots, you don't want to have to readjust your grip in the middle and reestablish it. You want it just so the only thing that is moving is your trigger finger, and you can fire one shot after another and never have to reestablish that grip.
Okay. And so if I tried to do 2 shots like right now, so I would just do that thing, just keep it in there and then.
Yeah. So what's
And then
if you're gonna
and go?
if you're gonna fire multiple shots in a row, then keep your finger inside the trigger guard, and ideally keep as much contact with the trigger as you can, so that you know where it is and you're just pushing back.
Okay.
It's gonna go forward a little bit to reset, and you want it to reset, but you don't need to take your finger all the way outside of the trigger guard if you're gonna fire multiple shots in a row.
Okay.
What I try to remember is if my eyes are on the sights, then I can have my finger on the trigger.
Okay.
So that was awesome. So you did still take your finger out a little bit, but we practiced that so much that it's probably a little bit ingrained. So you just have to keep with it.
Okay.
And do your dry fire practice and do your live fire practice and train your brain to know when the finger comes out and when the finger stays in.
Okay.
And then really, really squeeze with that left hand. As long as you're holding on to that gun, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel good?
Yeah, I do. I think it really is. I think it's just like coming up here and doing and practicing, like you said.
All right.
You know.
You feel good?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you could go to the range by yourself?
I do.
Uh-huh.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. There's a ladies' night. I think you should join it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I hope to see you more on the range.
Thank you. I do too. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you first picked up the gun and you shot your first 2 shots, they were right here, fairly center. And those were perfect.
Yeah.
And then you started to flinch a little bit more and get some shots down low.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I felt that.
And you felt it, and you know now what to look for. You see that sight, that front sight dipping down, like, oh, no, that's not a good shot. But once you kind of reset, took a deep breath, came back, then you started getting those good center hits again.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I love it. I'm super happy. I think you did awesome.
Thank you. I was super excited.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was a good day. And I don't feel bad about those because you showed me what I did that was wrong.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, yeah, I like to be good at things. But so I don't feel bad because I got better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun when you can see the progress and see how you're growing and see that your skill set developing.
Yeah.
It's so empowering and to get that confidence and know like, okay, I can hit the center.
Yeah.
I can draw that gun and I can hit the center every time.
Right.
That's what you want.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Awesome. Good job.
What was awesome about today for me was I've not been afraid of guns, but I was intimidated by going to a gun range. But the RSO and then everybody here today were super helpful and super friendly. And it just made me feel more confident about coming out here. There's a ladies' night. So I could start out with that and then come out, anytime I feel like. And I also learned that I can, I take a minute to choose the gun that I want. And I'm super excited about that. My name's Daphne, and I am a part of Maggie's mission.